Hey everyone, so we're out here this morning. Our project today is we got to start doing some backfill on these 3 basements we had dug. This is where we did our pre-sewers and we did the backfill on them. Got this girl all fired up and ready to go. The old Link Bell 210. So the plan here, we're probably going to be short on fill, but the plan here is to take all of the fill we have here in the front, get it in, backfill whatever we can with that, and on the sides. And then in the back we've got a decent little pile there. Go there and show you. But we got to backfill basically on the outside of the walls for now. And then over here, inside of the garage, what we're going to do in there is what we're gonna do inside the garage is put sandier fill in there, so it's not just clumpy and full of snow and frost. Just doing a little walkthrough, make sure they got all their pipes up and tied up to the top of the windows. This one here's already fallen down a bit, but they are full of stone, as you can see there, so that's why that thing's falling down. I'll have to get some dirt around it, and then when I get close, brace it up. But yeah, just like to do a little walkthrough, make sure everything is everything's got stone. So we got stone all around all the weepers. Make sure all your corners covered before I do start backfilling, and all my pipes are up. Just to do a little brief walk around. So I'm gonna go walk through all these before I start actually backfilling. And back here we got this pile here, so I'm gonna bring it down to about the level of, I want to be just below the windows, maybe by a few inches. It's still gonna settle, but I want to be below there. And with the fill that's here, it looks like we might have enough to do the back end, but we are definitely going to be short fill. So once I use up everything that's here, I'll move over to the fill stockpile, which is over there that way, and then we'll get a dump truck in here and finish the backfill with the dozer or the skid steer. But yeah, so you got 1, 2, 3 units, and yeah, let's get started on backfilling. And luckily this guy has thermal blankets down. Unfortunately, he did clean them up for me, but didn't clean them up enough out of the way. So I have to move them myself a little bit here. Leaving things laying around. Now, one thing when you're digging, one thing when you're backfilling with frost, see the ground's frozen, right? So you got to be, first of all, it's hard to get a corner going here. Really, you should almost need a frost pick on the bucket, but it's not that much frost. It's maybe only, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches, not too much. We'll have a quick look here. I don't know, maybe 6 to 8. I mean, oh, that might be like a foot thick in some areas. One thing, you definitely have to be careful when you're backfilling with frost is to not let a big chunk roll up against the wall. It's very easy to break a wall. Bust through a wall pretty quick with that. So luckily, should knock on some wood, hasn't happened to me yet, but I know it has happened to many people before, and it doesn't take much to lose a piece of frost. So I like to try and get the chunks of frost off and put them down the bottom of the hole, and I like to let them go and place them down. We've also got pipes down here. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but there's this, I don't even want to touch it because I don't know how much gravel's on here, but right there, that little bit of like that line right there, that's clear stone, and under that we've got a pipe. That white pipe, which is a storm, that'll be for the sump pump. That pipe goes over across that way, so out to the street here for the sewer water, or not sewer water, the sump pump water. So don't want to also drop a big chunk of frost on that pipe, because then we'll have a repair to do. See, it's very easy to lose a piece of frost like this. So the pipe comes in just to the other side of my bucket, so I should be okay to drop it here. And I'll just gently place that down so we don't break anything. Rule number 1, don't break things. It's usually the first and most important rule of operating heavy equipment. Especially when you're working around things like houses and buildings and other structures, roads, sides. That's when all the bad stuff can happen. If you're out working in the middle of a field, you know what? Really, you're not gonna have anything to worry about hitting. But when you're working around stuff like this, like structures, and you definitely have to be on your game all the time. That's quite the big piece of frost. See, this is where I'd like to have a thumb, but I gotta use some other techniques. Oh, I've broken half. There we go. Sometime in my bucket. That's the water shutoff valve is right there. And there actually should be another one. Yes, the other one for this house is right here. Oh, there goes the stick, but it's right here in front of the stick. Gonna have to put the stick is just to mark it for now, but we're gonna have to put something else there. But if you can see it there, I'll clean up in front of it, so I don't forget either. That little cap right next to my tooth. That's the water shut-off service there. So it's another thing we gotta watch. So yeah, doing the front lawns is a lot to watch for. You got pipes, obviously you gotta worry about the walls. I'm working on the road here. My back end is swayed onto the road, so I've always got to be cautious of cars coming. You got things like hydrants. Sometimes there's green transformer boxes, like the ones across the road there. You got light poles. You got all the fun things to watch out for in the front. So I like to get the front done first. I always find it's the hardest thing. And then, whoops, there goes my camera. So another thing you gotta watch for, camera's falling down. Over. Working on the last in between here. This one's a little bit of a tight squeeze, so I gotta be careful. I try to brace up as much as I can, especially where it's the pipes are here. So I want to gently drop down like looser dirt, get that pipe braced up before I just start dumping dirt in there. Well, I won't be able to just dump dirt in there regardless because it's a very tight space. But the other thing I want to do too is break up as many of these clumps as possible. We've got a lot of clumpy material. Obviously it's very frozen. The dirt itself is already very clumpy, but it doesn't help that it's on top of that bunch of frozen chunks. So try to bust it up a little bit. And I just loosely dump it there. There's not really much you can do. Use dirt. Now if it was clumps and I did this, very good chance I'd be ripping the waterproofing wrap or the pipe. So you just want to drop it loosely there and keep doing that. just finished up the side yard here. Starting to move along into the backyards. Trying to backfill some of these little nooks and crannies. Pretty difficult. Those pipes there, right? That one already fell down on me once. Small little clump. Goes and hits it, and then it's just off. They're only tied up with a little string, and they're completely full to the top with stone, so it doesn't take much to knock them off. I'm gonna try and put some dirt in on this angle. Once it's got some dirt around it, it'll be braced. I think we're still there. Got one clump in the corner. See if we can see it there. Make sure it's still there. Yeah, okay, pipe's still there. Very, very tricky to do this one spot here. Can't get a good angle at it. So I'll just do the best I can for now, and then obviously this is all gonna settle. Okay. Yeah, so just tidying up the side here now. Do the last little bit along the wall. Again, we're not too worried about doing anything super perfect now. This is going to be settling, but we want to get it nice, relatively level. Usually I'll go around this with the dozer or the skid steer and make everything a little nicer, but framers drive up here once with a forklift at this time of the year. Either it'll be frozen and it'll be okay, or if it's muddy, they'll just make a big mess anyway, so it won't be pretty for very long, even if you spend all the time in the world on it. But it's not clumps of frost, it's just clumps. It's either a dirt clump or a frost clump. Let's see our finished product. Hey, not too bad, not too bad. Considering it's all mud, frost, and so we're back here. It is the next day. Didn't quite get this last in between filled up yesterday. Ended up having to leave a bit early. Got a phone call I had to take off. So we are back here to finish the backfill. Once I get this middle done, we're gonna bring the excavator down to that fill stockpile. Right now I'm just trying to brace up that one pipe. I'm not sure you guys can see that. I'm gonna have to back up a bit. Got that one pipe right there by the window. The other one I won't be able to reach. It's gotta be from the front, but get enough dirt so it's nice and snug. Remember, these pipes were all falling down yesterday morning, so we got those stood up, put some dirt, stood them up, got them refastened to the wall. And now just bracing them up, and we don't have to worry about them anymore. You probably noticed that it's really tight here at the back. Well, tighter anyways. It seems to like open up a little bit. It's probably only, I don't know, well the bucket's 4 feet, so if I go right against the wall, we probably have about another maybe 2 feet at the most. I'd say maybe 6 feet between the walls here at the back, which is tight, but I guess dealt with a lot tighter than that. We've got some in-betweens that are 4 feet or less that we deal with. Sometimes I can't even get the bucket of the excavator to fit in between houses. So okay, so we're here at the stockpile. Trying to make myself a little platform here. How about that for a piece of frost? Let's see if we can break that. Yeah, a little bit. Sending big chunks of frost. Especially dumping it over there. It's a lot more risky. You don't want a big chunk like this to roll up against the wall. Okay, so loaded up a bunch of loads here. So I'm gonna come over here now with the dozer, get these piles all knocked over. Tried to pick through that frost a bit, so it's not too many big chunks here. Got some braced up against the wall too, so should be okay to let some looser stuff fall down there. Obviously, I think I already mentioned in the garage, we're going to try and put some different type of material that's not going to be as wet and clumpy and garbagey. That's some more sandier material on the other side of the site, like a different stockpile. So this is just some less quality fill, I guess. It's got a lot of other random stuff in it too, so I don't know, just kind of build up around the outside. That's what we have provided here on the site, so we don't bring anything in. It's all supplied. We use whatever is here and make do with that. So got some extra fill that comes out of cutting the driveways. I won't cut them out now because I still need dirt against the curb, obviously, to get in here with my truck to bring some sandy material up to the garage, dump it in. Once I get enough dirt all spread around, we get the garages all filled up and in, then I'll cut the driveways out. That's kind of usually the final. It's usually the final thing I do when backfilling. Get everything backfilled, garage is full, everything nice and done, tied it up all around, and then we cut the driveways out, bring in some gravel, some 2-inch crush, usually either 2-inch crush or 2-inch clear stone, and spread that in the driveway. Totally let the camera fall there. Don't know how that happened. Hopefully no big chunks of frost in there. Might be a little closer to the wall than I would have liked, but Alright guys, so we made it to the sand pile. We've started trucking in some sand, sandier material anyway. It's obviously still pretty frozen, but I managed to dig down into the pile a bit. So it's pretty wet, even though it's sand, it was pretty saturated, so had a good layer of frost, or it's just kind of wet sand. But either way, it'll still be a lot better material to put in the garages. So I'm just not gonna try to do anything too pretty right now. I'm just focusing on pushing it in, and then at the end, I'll have to do obviously a nicer job at the end here. But right now, I just the focus is getting it in there. I'm not worrying about doing a pretty job yet. These garages usually take about a standard 2-car garage will typically take somewhere in the neighborhood of about 6 dump truck loads, and that is a tandem dump truck loads like the dump truck we have here. So it's roughly about 6 loads per garage. Once I get some of this dirt braced up against the wall, on the other side of the wall, then we can back up a little closer to it with the dump truck and dump it in there a lot nicer without worrying about busting right through the wall. That's what I like to do: dump 2 loads in front, push these 2 in, so we get some dirt on the other side of it, the wall, to kind of brace it up, and then rotate it back up to the edge of the wall and dump the fill into the garage a little better. Makes it easier to push it in after. guys, we're here. Worked a little bit late. Things didn't go as smooth as planned. We got some snow. We managed to work through it all, get everything done and backfilled. We got the driveways all cut. So you can see here by the curb, we've cut out, well, it's hard to tell there, but it's probably about, I don't know, somewhere between 8-10 inches or so. So we could sound some base, so we could put down some base stone. And then by the garage as well there, got the garages all filled in. This is going to be the front lawn. Water service stick here, knocked over, it's going to need a new one, but it's it there. Well, yeah, we got these garages all cut, or sorry, driveways all cut, garages all filled, all the way to the end there. In between, if you recall at the beginning, we were walking through the middle of this house, down at the basement level, and now we are walking around up at the very top. Yeah, see the backyard's all done. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's the prettiest looking backfill, but as you can tell, bricklayers, framers, everybody and their brothers driving through here, so you just kind of got this roughly spread out, and also it's very frozen, a lot of frozen chunks, so just did the best we can do with the situation. And yeah, once it all thaws out, bricklayers and framers are done, we'll come through here and do a final bit of a prep. So guys, again, if you liked the video, please subscribe, give it a like, and again, thanks for watching. Now I'm out here freezing my hands, so make it worth it and give it a like. Take care, guys. See you next time.